Hi, I'm Charlie. Welcome to Lainey and My podcast, where we will be discussing the media's coverage of Kanye West's anti-Semitic posts of 2022. Before diving into this topic, it must be disclosed that we both have bias towards this topic as we feel that Kanye's actions were disgusting and should not have been praised. But our biases will be set aside for the purpose of properly informing our audience on this controversial topic.
Our research question is, when evaluating through a political and racial lens, how does the media's coverage of Kanye West's anti-Semitic posts reveal how much power Americans feel social media platforms should have when it comes to censoring content?
To start off our research, the Sydney Morning Herald's What's the Point of Kicking Kanye West Off Social Media by Katie Hall reports on whether social media bans and restrictions actually help reduce the spread of harmful views and hate speech. It reports that unlike most influencers, Kanye West is a fashion designer and a rapper who does not solely rely on his social media presence to maintain his fame. Given this, the impact of banning his account is minimal. The key issue presented is that freezing profiles and restricting is less directed at the account who committed the act and more about sending a message towards the minorities affected. Large platforms care more about self-interest and saving their reputation from affiliation with destructive views. This author believes that suspensions are nothing more than a marketing tactic to show that media moguls share progressive morals, rather than addressing the issue at hand. The audience for this article is those who question both the effectiveness of account banning and if companies are using their power to do so effectively. The coverage of this event is objective as the language used to describe the event was entirely professional. This was not a matter of further bashing Kanye's actions, but rather analyzing how his consequences affected him. There is a political critical lens as to the structure and power of social media companies in America and their desire to do anything to keep a clean slate in the eyes of society.
In the article, Twitter's ban on Kanye West violates its own policies, published by Newsweek by Alan Dershowitz, discloses that even though Kanye West's Twitter post of a Star of David and swastika imposed together on December 2nd of 2022 is offensive, but is still protected by the First Amendment and therefore did not deserve to be restricted by Twitter. This media states that under Elon Musk's new guidelines, Twitter can only censor posts inciting violence, not based on offensiveness or disagreement. Dershowitz presents the key issue as West not violating these terms because the image wasn't a direct verbal call for violence. Therefore, Twitter should follow their own rules. The target audience for this piece is individuals who believe large social media platforms don't have the right to censor people because content is deemed offensive. The racial lens could be seen as Kanye combined a symbol of Jewish identity with a symbol that represents the death of more than 6 million innocent Jewish lives.
The Washington Post reports, Kanye's anti-Semitic tweet could be a preview of social media's future. Will Ormius and Lima Cristiano shed light on the possibility of further discriminatory posts flooding social media as states push to pass laws restricting censorship from large social media companies in hopes of stopping the censorship of conservative opinions, which is now creating a gray area between what's considered opinion and what is deemed hate speech. The coverage of this topic is as objective as it can be, given that conservative politicians and Elon Musk refuse to give a comment on the situation. The author appears to be in support of censoring extremely offensive content seen through the light use of negative language when referring to Kanye's tweets and Instagram posts as vile and the chilling effect these laws could have on what media companies are allowed to censor. Given the author's stance, the target audience is like-minded people who are concerned by Kanye's tweets and the possibility of odious posts becoming more frequent on large platforms. There is a prominent race lens as in this article, Kanye unfairly stereotyped Jewish people via his Instagram and then proceeded to threaten to bring, and quote, DEFCON 3 on them via his Twitter. The political lens is seen as the author makes it clear that conservative parties are the states which are pushing for these anti-censorship laws and the social effect that they will make. The key issue addressed is that Kanye's actions were not acceptable, hence why both Instagram and Twitter knew to immediately freeze his account. But as states push to enact laws limiting the restricting power of social media platforms, they will become much more inclined to play it safe and keep hate speech on their websites.
In the Rolling Stones article titled "Conservatives Are Mad Kanye Was Censored for Threatening DEFCON 3, they report that following Kanye's anti-Semitic posts on social media, right-wing conservatives took this opportunity to rail against social media censorship as platforms shut down Kanye's independent thinking based on his opposing views from the rest of Hollywood. They shared that on Fox News, the hosts of Fox and Friends Sunday declared that West's comments were wrong, but argued that removing them from the public would do actually nothing to curb the spread of anti-Semitism. It's then quickly pointed out that Fox News later censored comments on their website regarding Kanye's anti-Semitic posts as they violated their site policy. The main issue is that conservatives don't address the difference between what is deemed an opinion and what is deemed hate speech. The article is not objective, as negative language was used towards the right wing, such as referring to conservative speakers as Trump minions. The author's perspective is that conservatives are wrong for backing Kanye in this situation instead of addressing West's anti-Semitism. Because conservatives are specifically named and looked down upon in this article, the target audience includes left-winged people. The political lens is very bold throughout here, as there is a left-wing stance against conservative views.
From Kanye's controversial comments to brands ending ties, a timeline. In this article, Manas Sen Gupta provides us with many direct examples of how Kanye's controversy had affected his personal and financial relationships. Closely following the rapper's controversies, many aspects of his life had been flipped upside down very publicly. The article lists numerous situations in which ties with Kanye had been completely cut off and attempts to disassociate with his public drama, including directed posts from his ex-wife, Kim Kardashian, and public criticisms from numerous other celebrities and fans. Brands including Chase, Balenciaga, Vogue, CAA, Adidas, and many more have completely cut ties with the artists. This raises the question of whether or not relationships and brand deals are authentic or not when in the public eye. In other words, only successful when representatives are well liked by the public or deemed politically correct. This article appears very unbiased, with many direct quotes, statistics, and tweets portrayed, as well as mild and mature vocabulary and language used. The target audience in this situation would be anyone curious as to what happened to Kanye's life post-controversy. The writer's point of view is hidden, as the article only presents facts. The key issue presented is insensitivity of the rapper, but because of the events that took place, not due to the wording or opinion. This article can be viewed through a political lens. The author presents a series of clearly explained quotes and events and shows reliable credibility.
To close this discussion, it's fair to say that the media is very divided when it comes to how much power big tech companies should have over censorship. Some believe that companies should have no say whatsoever when it comes to restricting content as it violates the freedom of speech. Some question the motives and effectiveness of censorship in social media, while others believe that censorship is mandatory in order to keep media hate-free and a safe environment.